Hadley Burton, and it is my privilege today to introduce to you guys Lacey Gattagard. After graduating from Evans Hairstyling School at 19 years old, the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas offered Lacey a job as a stylist assistant. There, she worked under some of the greatest stylists in the industry. After 7 amazing years at the Bellagio, the new hotel Aria asked Lacey to join as a new extension specialist. Both opportunities allowed for her to work with clients, including celebrities around the world. In 2010, Lacey created Laced Hair Extensions, a company with social media and a great product transformed into a global brand. Laced hair products have been seen on ABC, The Bachelor, and Shark Tank contestants. The products have also been featured in music videos, People, Allure, and Cosmopolitan, as well as several hair magazines and popular blogs. Currently, Lacey lives in Salt Lake City, Utah, and is a proud mother of 2 boys. Please join me in welcoming the founder and CEO of Laced Hair, Lacey Gattagard.
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here and honored really. It's such a beautiful campus, such a beautiful school. It's a good intro. I guess I don't really have to say anything else about myself, right? We're done. Like I said, I'm totally excited to be here. My dad actually graduated from Utah State University. And I know, woo, go Aggies. And I think everyone just found that out that invited me to come today, so they didn't even know that. And I was even born here because my dad was going to school. So I love Logan, and I am totally excited to be here. So anyways, I kind of wanted to start out by just saying how I got my start. I think one of the most popular questions people always ask me when I'm speaking, and I will say first and foremost, it is so exciting to be with students because I feel like your eyes, your ears, and your minds are a lot more open than when I'm speaking to people that are already in the industry. So I'm so excited. I hope you guys can take away as much from today as possible. How I got my start, just like they said, I've always had that entrepreneurship mind. When I was very young, most 12, 13-year-old girls are babysitters. And I used to always have to babysit my little brothers, so I didn't want to do that at night too. So I kind of created I found a niche business where I could clean people's houses. I had to clean my own house. We had a family of 7. I didn't want to clean houses of people with children. So I found grandmothers in my neighborhood, and I created a little mobile company, and I would go to their homes, and I would dust and vacuum for them. I made my own hours, and I literally did that business from I think I started when I was 12, and I did it all the way through high school. And those women became my second grandmothers. And it was just a really awesome opportunity. And what I loved was the companionship that I had with my customers. I really found that customer service is so important in growing a brand at such a young age. And so moving on, I went to, as you know, I went to hair school. I am from Cedar City. I went to hair school in Cedar City as well. And I would say when I started my hair career is when I got a lot of negative comments from family members, from friends, that they said, wait, you're on the fast track to law school. You already have 1 year of school done. Why aren't you going to go to law school? You're going to go to hair school. And they've all apologized since, by the way, just so you know. But they just couldn't believe that I want to go to hair school. And I said, oh my gosh, I know I'm going to do something great with it. And so after hair school, like they said, I went and worked at the Bellagio. In 2004, 2003, when I started in the Bellagio, that was the only hotel on the Strip. Now, if some of you have been there, I'm sure you have, you see there's so many beautiful hotels. But back then, that was the only beautiful hotel, so I was really lucky to be able to learn my trade very well. I worked with some of the best people in the industry, people from Chicago, from Paris, from Los Angeles, and I met celebrities and princesses and kings and queens and athletes. I mean, it was a really great experience. But what I learned was I would have to go to work. I'd leave my house at 8 in the morning. I wouldn't get home till 8 o'clock at night. And that was fine when I was 20 and 21. When I was 23, I got married, and I had my first child when I was 24. And I didn't really want that 10-hour day or 12-hour day by the time I got home away from my baby. And I just remember thinking of that first business I started when I was so young and how I knew there was something that I could do. So what I really wanted to do was create my own brand, where I specialize in hair extensions, and I wanted to create my own brand so I could have it mainly for my own use. And then I was thinking that I would make so much money because I wouldn't have to buy the extensions anymore from another company, and I would just have it for myself. So I thought, oh wow, it's got to be so easy to start your own extension company. I'm sure there's so many ways to get it, and it wasn't. 2.5 years later, I finally found. Luckily, I found an amazing vendor overseas, and I still work with them today, and we have a great product. So how I started that business was trial and error. I lost a lot of money. I lost all of my savings trying to start, which wasn't a lot. I was only 23, but I lost a lot of my savings trying to start this company. And my last $1,000 that I had, that I knew this was the last time I could try a vendor. I finally found one, and it worked out. And so I started. It was open, it was starting, and I was using my own hair. And then I was working at Aria, and my boss said, well, we're buying from another company. Can we just buy it from you? And I said, sure. They said, okay. They put together an order, and my order was $6,000. And I just remember, literally just falling off my chair because I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. The only problem was I did not have that much inventory, but I was like, oh yeah, we can get that in for you. That's great. And so it took 2.5 months for them to get that order. What I didn't realize, our products come from overseas. They come from Asia. The Chinese have Chinese New Year. They shut down the whole month of February. Of course, when I needed my order, it was February, so it put them a month behind. So they kept waiting. Lacey, we already paid. And that was one of my very first struggles of starting the business. Luckily, we got it, and we still work with them today. But something that I just like to talk about is just starting out, that those struggles are going to come. They're going to come, and to just keep working through them, and you'll get there. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. After I started that company and I had that $6,000 order, that seems like a lot. I probably didn't get another customer buy an order for me, I should say, for probably maybe 2 more months. And in that time, we moved to Michigan, and I was pregnant with my second baby. So for 3 months, I didn't make any money with the company. And we moved to Michigan, and I lived there for 2.5 years. My business is moving slow. And all of a sudden, this amazing app came out. You guys maybe have heard of it. It's called Instagram. I'm not sure if you have. So that app came out, and I started posting pictures on Instagram, and I started posting my work on Instagram. And people started commenting on my photos and saying, oh my gosh, this is amazing work. I wish you could do my hair. And I was living in Michigan, and someone I remember lived in New York City. And I was like, well, I can fly to you. She was like, really? I said, absolutely. And so I went and did her hair in New York City. And from that experience, I met with her hairstylist, and I trained her hairstylist. So I created So I created a network with someone, over there. So we moved from Michigan, and we moved back to Salt Lake City, where I now live. And back to that wonderful thing of Instagram, I started working with bloggers. I started working with other entrepreneurs in Utah. I went to every single blogger party. I really put myself out there. I worked for free. I just really wanted to get my brand out there. Let's see if this will work real quick. So these are a few of the magazines and a few of the things that I've done in the last really, this is maybe like the last 2 years that I've been back in Utah. So as you can see, it's really exciting, it's really fun, some of the stuff that we've done. But really our brand, what has been so incredible is just being able to be on social media and just getting out there, getting our name out there. And as you can see, we've really grown, and it's been really exciting and really fun. I wanted to kind of introduce you to our brand. Do any of you guys already follow me on Instagram, Laced Hair Extensions? Some of the guys that I met today I made follow us too, but hopefully some of the girls do too. I do. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. The one without any hair in here is the one that follows. So that sounded really rude, but he is my cousin, so I feel like I can make fun of family, right? I love you. I had to throw out the cousin thing because I was like, oh, that seems so mean. So with branding, I think it's been really important with my company. I really want really anyone to come to my Instagram and just be like, wow, this is fun. These girls are having fun. I hope it conveys my personality. I try not to ever take myself too seriously. I like to have fun. So we've created a brand of women just having fun. And when women are having fun, they're confident. And when your hair looks great, you're feeling really confident. I wanted to show you just a quick little branding video too. There he is. So with that, every Tuesday I like to release a video that just shows either a tutorial of us doing something or of us just having fun. That video was taken at our photo shoot that we had. So like I said, I've built this brand that just shows us having fun. One of the questions that I got asked today in two different, at our dinner tonight and then also at the round table we had before the dinner was, sorry guys, let me grab that. Didn't you say there was a water up here? Oh, there it is, thank you. Everyone just said, our biggest thing was how did you do it? How did you brand yourself? What makes you different than other people? And it's so funny because that is one question that I didn't prepare, that I didn't really go over in my head, what makes me different from anyone. Because there's so many great companies out there, and in creating your brand and creating your business, you need something that can set you aside from people. And I just keep going back to what sets us aside from everyone else, and I would have to say it is our marketing, it is our branding, it is I stand behind it. It is my name behind it. And we create this lifestyle, this atmosphere of people wanting to be around us and enjoying themselves. It's everyone's welcome, and that is something that has set us aside. There are people that do. There are people that do have companies similar to mine, and that was another question that I got asked. Well, what do you do when there's another competitor? And I just said, I just have to be better. I keep trying to be innovative. I use the word innovative all the time because you have to keep trying to go around the curve, create new products, create new content. I think being the face of my product has really helped set me apart from other people. And so to answer, I know some of you, I probably didn't get back to that question that you asked me when we were finishing up the dinner. So that is something that I would say sets us apart, is just trying to just stay ahead of the curve. So this year, as I'm showing you all some of the stuff that we've done, we were able to provide hair for the Victoria's Secret fashion show in Paris. And obviously it was like a huge accomplishment, and it was so much fun. And when I look at this picture, I still am pinching myself. It's so exciting that the models were walking the runway with my brand. But getting there, it definitely wasn't easy. I had to, like I said, I had to work for free. I had to spend a lot of time, a lot of money on marketing and networking. As the slide was supposed to be before, but as you can see with our brand, this is actually me, so you can see without my hair extensions in. You can see our hair, how much it just transforms hair for women. And we create something that women really become addicted to. And it's not necessarily, so many people will say it's a vanity thing, but they become addicted to the feeling of feeling beautiful and just feeling womanly with having their hair full. So why I wanted to kind of show all these success pictures first: People Magazine, Glamour Magazine, The Bachelor, BuzzFeed, all the news outlets I've been on here in Utah, and I mean, even being here, it's such an honor, and it all comes down to why I do it. Why I do it is the very first time I put hair extensions in my head, how I felt. When I was in high school, the Flat Iron came out. I was a sophomore in high school like 17 years ago. But the Flat Iron came out. That ages me a little bit, I know. But all my friends had this long, beautiful hair, and they would flat iron their hair, and it just looked awesome. My hair just stops right here, like about that point. It just never grows. And so I remember the first time I put extensions in, how I felt, and I just thought, oh my gosh. It wasn't even a money thing. I was just thinking, like, this needs to be shared. So many women need to know that they can feel like this too. And through my efforts in working at the Bellagio, and we started doing extensions at the Bellagio, and it was a really amazing business. Just because women, when they feel good about themselves, is actually something that when 2008 hit, some of the older people here will remember the year 2008. I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, one of the hardest hit areas during the economy crash. And most of our customers that were flying into Las Vegas, they were flying, like I just said, they were flying into Las Vegas just to get their hair done. A lot of them lost their homes, lost their businesses, were driving not as fancy cars now, but they were still flying to me to get their hair done and crying about the economic problem in my chair. So that was something that I remember thinking too, business-wise, like, because I didn't have my business yet, but I just remember thinking, wow, these women are giving up so many other things, but they are still getting their hair done. And I've done a little research going back to the Great Depression. Dentists and barbers also were still in business during the Great Depression because people, when things are going bad, people still want to look good. So 2008 was a lot of people's worst year. And from year to date, from when I started at Bellagio in 2003 to 2008 was my best year I ever had. Not best, I shouldn't say best, but financially, it was the most lucrative year I had had year to date, just because people still wanted to feel like that. So, and I come back to the why. I have this really quick quote I want to read you. I want to write his name down so I remember it. People don't buy what you do, but they buy why you do it. Sorry, it's kind of a tongue twister, so I want to make sure I say it right. So like I said, that's why I do. It's the feeling that these women have. It's the feeling that I have. It's personal. I know that I know how it makes them feel. Last year was the first year that I reached the status of a multi-million-dollar company in 2015. I was on cloud nine. That was the first year I was able to go to the Victoria's Secret fashion show. That year, 2015, it was in New York City. And my business is just booming. Things seem awesome. And you know, I already had gone through so many other trials that I thought, I've got it all figured out now. This is happening, and things were good. So I got home from the Victoria's Secret fashion show, which was in New York City, and I woke up, and the left side of my face was paralyzed, and I started having seizures that day. So what we found out was I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So why I'm telling you this story is that when you're on cloud nine, you may not get a brain tumor, you may not go through all of these things, but something may happen. And so what are you going to do? So I'm sitting at actually Huntsman Cancer Institute in Salt Lake City right now, or not right now, but in this photo. And I just kept thinking, why? Why was my question? Over and over, I was just thinking, why? And then what? And then what am I going to do? The brain tumor that I was diagnosed with, they told me was inoperable. So we had to wait. So what they did, they hooked me up to my infusions, and I'm sitting there. Everyone's calling me, woe is me, what's going to happen? You'll obviously think the worst when you hear brain tumor. And I actually just kind of shut everyone out, and this is what I did. I just got to work. I said, you know what, I don't know what's going to happen, but 2016 is going to be my biggest year. And even if I only have 4 months to live, I'm going to make sure that 2016 is my biggest year yet. And so that's what I did. I got to work. And I kept going back to the why. Why was I doing it? And like I said, you hit this milestone and you say, I now have made over $1 million with my company. I must be so successful. I must be this. I must be that. It came with a lot of challenges. I got divorced. I became a single mom with 2 kids. And then the high came up again. And that's when I was talking about the high with Victoria's Secret. I thought, okay, I've made it. Victoria's Secret wants my hair in their show. And then that's when I said, that's when this hit. So if I didn't have the why I was doing it, I don't think I would have had the why to keep fighting through all of my trials. I haven't looked at that photo that big in a while, so I'm like, whoa. So as I was there sitting, and they did a lot of tests over 6 months, we found out that it indeed was a tumor. Tumor is anything foreign, but it wasn't a cancerous tumor. And I didn't need brain surgery, and they found out that I had multiple sclerosis. So with that was another challenge, because I am a hairstylist. And I did a lot of research on multiple sclerosis. Sometimes it can be crippling. There's shaking. There's so many things. I was thinking, I'm a hairstylist. I need my hands. I need this. And then I just thought, how lucky are you that you created a brand that you don't necessarily need to do hair anymore. And then even more on my why, I wanted to keep working. I wanted to keep focusing on my brand. My why also was my boys that I needed to take care of. And so, anyways, with that, I want to say, do what you do best and hire out the rest. So that's when I really decided to say, okay, I need to I can't do everything anymore. I'm kind of a control freak. Those that know me will say not just kind of, it might be a little more than kind of. But I'm a control freak, and I was doing everything on my own, and I was doing literally everything. And so that was when I really hired a team. I went from only having one employee, that her and I were doing everything. Over that year, I now have 12 employees. So I found someone to help me with social media. I found someone to help me with my blog. I found an awesome accountant. I found an awesome bookkeeper. I decided to finally go for it and stop shipping hair, because our products up until this point were all shipped out of my basement. I said, I'm not going to ship products out of my basement. I'm going to get a location. I'm going to do all these things. And I was nervous to hire all these employees because it meant it could take away from my bottom line. But when I did that, we were able to grow. And now I opened up my new store, and that is in Sandy, Utah. We went from being in a tiny little basement room in my house. Now we have a 1,200 square foot store and salon down in Sandy. You guys totally can come say hi anytime that you want. This is another picture from Paris. Really quick, I'm going to jump in and talk about this little girl right there, this little ticket. Her name's Sarah Patempa. She created a product called the Beach Waver. It's a curling iron that rotates on its own. If you follow my Instagram, I always post about it. She also is a woman entrepreneur, has 2 kids. She's amazing. These are the kind of people I try and find to surround myself with. I want to find people that make me want to be a better person and that I look up to, and they become my friends, and we're able to shoot ideas off of each other. So when people say, how did you do this? You did it all on your own. I didn't do it all on my own. I grew an amazing team, and I surround myself with like minds of other people that are entrepreneurs. And the possibilities become endless. Our conversations, we start to talk about ideas instead of people. We start to talk about goals instead of gossip. And really, the last year, I went through some crazy things, but really focusing on my why and why I do things, and just surrounding myself with other people that also want success. And they don't want success because they want to be wealthy. Obviously that's nice too, but they want to make people feel good about themselves, and she's very similar to that. So I am so thankful that I'm able to be around people like her. I also wanted to touch on today when I was sitting in the class and hearing some of you business students speak, and I wanted to say how lucky you are that you're here in such an awesome institution that really talks about business and that lets you minor in business from attending seminars and classes like this, and just puts you ahead of the curve. Certain things that I didn't know is I thought, there's so many commercials that say you can do your own taxes. And I have a hair school education. I'm sure I can figure out taxes. I'm stubborn. I think I'm super smart, and I can figure it all out. So last year, the same brain tumor week, my new accountant and bookkeeper that I had found said, Lace, by the way, you owe $150,000 in taxes. And I was just like, okay, that could have been enough to put me out of business. Several companies can go out of business because of taxes. So we created a tax plan to put me on track. It's all paid back now, and that won't happen again because I was able to hire people to help me do things. And like I said, if I wouldn't have done that and gotten the right help, I I would be in a lot of trouble right now. So to answer some of your questions earlier from today, how did you do it? It is get the help that you need. And you guys are already on the fast track of doing that because you are in school. And you're learning so many things that I wasn't able to learn with only my high school and hair school education. So I applaud you for being here, and I really look up to you for being here. I remember thinking, 1 year of hair school, awesome. But now that I have a business, I know the things that you need, and you guys are all learning it now, so you're already a step of the curve of entrepreneurs like me. So that is awesome, just so you all know that you're a step ahead of that. I want to leave enough time for questions too, or maybe that we can move the direction. So if anyone has any questions for me right now? Anyone at all? Yeah. What celebrities I've worked with? Okay. So as of recently, our products have been they were on 31 of the Victoria's Secret models in the show, Just Barely in Paris. Carrie Underwood wears our brand. A lot of these I'm not allowed to talk about, so this isn't on the Insta story right now, right? Carrie Underwood wears our hair extensions. Ashley Tisdale wore them. She actually posted us last week, and I was totally excited about it. Lauren Conrad wears our hair extensions. I've done Jennifer Aniston's hair. I've done, oh my gosh, I just totally had a mind blank that you asked me that because there's been so many celebrities. We have Kesha wears our hair right now. Maddie and Tay, the country singers. Kelsey Ballerini wears our hair extensions. I'm sure I could think of more, but I'll go move on to the next question before I just sit here and think of that all night. Yeah.
I just had a quick question. Whereas you said you started your company when you were 23 and it took a few years for it to take off. How did you get people to take you seriously when you started it at such a young age? So
I was 26 when I started, actually, and a lot of people still don't take me serious. So that's a great question. I think that, like I said, I would go into salons and I would give them my little pamphlet, and when I was first starting out, because Instagram really wasn't out yet, and I would say, here's what I can offer your salon. I used to work at Bellagio. Here's my portfolio. I've done hair extensions at the time. Back then, it was Paula Abdul and Paris Hilton. They were really big in the early 2000s. And I would say, I can train your salon to do this. Then we also have a product. And it was really hard. I had a website, but we didn't have social media. And so now, honestly, even though I'm still young, I'm 32, but now with social media, people can actually go in and see your portfolio. You can't really lie about it anymore because it's all out there. I didn't ever lie about it, but I'm just saying it's all out there on social media. They can find it. They can Google, they can look you up on Facebook. So now I would say, because of our social media following and the pictures that we post and the professionalism, and that now people take us more serious. But it was really difficult when I was young to have people take me serious because they didn't have the tools that you all have now to create awesome content with social media. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one over here. I'm sorry. So I was just curious how you went about picking your supplier, and if ethics played a role in that, and if you had to align your brand with that company's brand.
So finding a supplier was obviously very tricky. I didn't know anything about anything with fair trading and working in China. So really, I just had to kind of trust them. They assured me that it was safe and that it was very ethical. 2 years ago, I actually was able to fly over to my manufacturers, and I did a tour of the facility. Our factory, this is all human hair, by the way, is all ethically sourced, meaning people sell it or donate it, and then they use the hair to create our extension brand. It's also a publicly traded company in China, which means the government owns it, so they have to really be up on everything to make sure that they are all in regulations. It was really awesome to go over and see it being done. Because it is a public company, they also have an age limit that everyone in my factory has to be over the age of 24. So everyone that works there is over 24. So it was really comforting and really exciting to know that I could even stand behind my brand even more, to know that although we hear horror stories from the factories in China, that ours is actually a really awesome factory. So I'm glad that you asked that, because I was not going to go over anything like that. But yeah, thank you. Anything else?
When did you start blogging? Because in this industry, it's like so huge to blog now. Like that's how a lot of people get into it. And at what point in branding did you start your blog?
So it really is, you're right, it really is a hard industry to get into with blogging. But if you don't ever get started, you'll never know. So my best advice is, if you're going to do it, to just get started. And if you have a really great blog, it doesn't matter if you started it 6 years ago when everyone else started their blog. If you create great content and really believe in it and really work hard, you can be one of those popular bloggers too. It's a lot more work than people think. But yeah, my best advice is to just go for it. And don't try and be like the other blogs, because there's already so many people trying to be like each other. So just be you and get started and create that awesome content, and people will follow. And when I started my blog, actually, I started my blog after I started my Instagram, my hair blog anyways, because so many people would see the styles that I created or the outfits, and they would say, ask everything. So we started posting about them. And then our YouTube channel has actually helped our business as well. So we do those tutorials that I showed you, a quick little 1-minute one or video, and that's really helped too. But I guess I started my business really 6 years ago, but I started the blog, I guess 2 years ago. And yeah, it's been very fun. And Pinterest has really helped our business too. So if you're starting a blog and you can pin your content, it's amazing what can happen. We have one tutorial that I think has been pinned. Our biggest one has been pinned, I think, 250,000 times. And I have a lot of friends that way more than that, but for us, that was a big accomplishment, that it's been pinned that many times. I do want to keep talking a little bit more about social media, because I just think you guys have such a benefit that social media is is at your fingertips already, where I didn't have that until about 3 years ago. I want to go back to this slide real quick. From being in these magazines and being featured on some of these shows and featured in other people's blogs and on Instagram, we ran the numbers, and over the last year, our social media outreach, that just from being on these, it didn't mean we were mentioned this many times, but just the total reach that we were on, we figured it was 250 million people could have viewed it, between how many people bought certain magazines not the last year, but the last, since I started my company. So if you can just get yourself out there, anything, just getting started somewhere. I had to get started somewhere, and I asked the blogger if I could do her hair color and if she would feature me on her blog. This blogger, some of you maybe have heard of her, she had just gotten her start too. Her blog is called Mascara.com. Her name's Kara Brooke, and she created a makeup line. And so she was just starting her blog, and she was getting really popular, and I was just starting my extension brand. and we did a makeover. Her hair was black and I colored it blonde, which is a lot of work. And that post that she did, the before and afters, that post alone got, it's been a while since I thought of this, so I don't remember the exact number, but that post alone, that got me almost 10,000 new followers on Instagram because I did that post with her, and it also helped her grow, because one of the most Googled terms in the hair industry is how to get your hair from black to blonde. So if anyone Googles how to get your hair from black to blonde, we'll see that blog post that we did 4.5 years ago that really helped both of our careers immensely. She created also a makeup line, and she's killing it. She's definitely killing it. She's really awesome. I'm sure some of you, the girls in here, know who she is too. Are there any more questions, guys?
Oh, I have a question for you. So you mentioned at the beginning of your career you had some trouble getting the ball moving. I'm right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't know where she is.
You're good. But I think that's something that happens to a lot of young entrepreneurs when they're first starting out. So I just wondered, from personal experience, what helped you keep gaining momentum and moving forward? Because you said that you had like 2-month periods where you just had no business. And I think that's something a lot of people may experience in the future.
Yeah, so really, that's where I go back to my why. Why am I doing this? There were so many times my ex-husband would ask me, why are you doing this? We're not making any money. All the money you make, you're just buying more hair. Why are you doing this? And I really believed in it. And I was able to, we definitely sacrificed, but I was able to have another job. I was still doing hair while trying to create my business. And that was, I had to have a reason that I kept doing it, because it is hard. It caused a lot of problems. I was scared. There was a time that I flew back to Utah and met with the director of the hair school I went to, and he wanted me to come teach a class. He said, charge him whatever you want. I just want you here teaching an extension class. So I charged $450. I thought maybe I'd have 8 students take my class, and I was so excited even to have 8 students. I had 20 students sign up for my class. The class was $450, and so at the end of that day, I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I just made $12,000 after all the hair costs and everything. So I finally had a little bit of capital to reinvest more into my business and have more, make it a little bit bigger. So I emailed my supplier, asked them if they could make this $12,000 order. I was so excited, and they were excited that I was growing. And anyways, they emailed me back and they said, okay, well, here's the bank information. The bank information was a different bank that I wasn't used to, and I had this gut feeling, a really bad feeling about it, and I didn't trust that feeling, and I said, oh, well, it must just be, they just changed banks. And so I sent the money to that bank. Then I got an email from my real supplier, and they said, our email has been hacked. Do not send your money to that bank. So I lost the $12,000 that I just made, and that was almost my point. I was devastated. I thought, okay, that's going to be the big break. So you know what I did? I just planned another class. And I didn't have as many people this time, so I had to plan 2 more classes. So you're going to have those fallbacks, and you just have to keep going and have your reason why you want to do it. And like I said, there's so many setbacks. You may have a setback. My setback was that mistake with my manufacturer in the beginning, and I did have a setback with taxes that was really scary. You know, I went through divorce, and just so you know, that in a divorce, your husband or wife is a business partner, so I had to buy him out of my business. I know this is very personal, but I want to be really real with you all here in some of the real things you may go through and some of the real struggles. So I had to buy him out of the business, and then the brain tumor, and which turned into MS. And so I have several struggles along the way, and you all probably won't have those same struggles. Some may have a few of them, but you will have some struggles when you're creating your business, and it's just a choice. How bad do you want it? There may be economic problems. There may be, I have the fear every day that maybe we can't do trade with China anymore. It's a big fear, and it's a real fear, but I can't let it affect my why. I still want to do it, and I still fight for it every day. So it's just a matter of choice if you want to do it. And I'm going to be really honest also, is something that really helped me. For 3 years, I didn't take any money from, actually for almost 5 years, I didn't take any money from my business. So even when we went from making $2,000 a month in sales, then it kind of went up. I remember when I made $7,000 a month in sales, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're growing. I was so excited. And then from that, we went up to $20,000 in sales. And that's when I was really starting to feel a lot more comfortable. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I should buy a new car. Maybe I should do this. And maybe I should start looking for investors. But what I never did, and this is, a lot of people do things differently, but with my business and what did work for me at the time, I kept investing. I kept reinvesting in my business. I never went out and bought the new car. I never went out and bought the new house. I kept reinvesting in my business. And to today, like I said, now we are a multi-million-dollar brand, and I 100% own all of my company, and I don't have any business debt, zero. I definitely want to, we're at the point now where I know I need to get investors and get an SBA loan and things like that, but to this point, I haven't had to do it. Had I not been reinvesting in my business, I would have definitely probably given up equity by now. And it's depending on your business and what you're doing, it's not necessarily a bad idea to give up equity in your company. But now if I do it, my company's worth a lot more. That it was definitely worth waiting a few years to really pay myself. And so I didn't give myself an actual paycheck for my company as CEO until last year. In 2016 was the very first paycheck I ever gave myself. The business still provided for us. I was able to do business write-offs because of our rent and my car payment and things like that, but I didn't give myself a physical paycheck. I was still doing hair, and that was how I made money. But the business, everything my business made, I put right back into it. And I almost thought of it as that I was working for Laced Hair Extensions. So everything that I made was going right back into the business. And I was able to, like I said, I own 100% of it. And we were able to open up our new store this year to go from my little room in my basement to now 1,200 square feet. We have a salon and a storefront now. So, and it would have been hard to do those things had I given up equity and was in a ton of business debt. So I'm really happy that I was frugal. So I will say, when you all are starting your businesses and they become very successful, because they will, because you're going to work really hard at them, try and be frugal and set yourself up before you go out and make those CEO type purchases. That was a really long answer, and I hope I answered your question at all in there. But does anyone have any more? Because we have maybe like 10 more minutes before we're done. Yeah.
So you talked about being diagnosed with MS and learning about the brain tumor, and you went through a divorce, and there was all these really nasty things that you had to go through. But you were able to turn all of those setbacks into your advantage by working really hard and getting moving. Was that picked up by any media, or was that able to be shared with others as a really inspiring story? And if it was, how was that able to help your brand and your company?
So it was, I hope today answers that. I hope I can inspire some of you today. It was kind of tricky. I do have an Instagram. I have about 8,000 followers on my personal Instagram, and I shared some of the story. I didn't put it on my business Instagram because I didn't want people to think, I didn't want them to be like, oh, she has a brain tumor. I don't know if we should continue doing business. I kind of, fast forward, I probably would have done things a little bit different. I didn't know how the outcome was going to be, so I didn't know what to do. But I have been on blogs talking about my story. I do talk about it when I do presentations, but it hasn't necessarily been picked up on too many things. But I have spoken with several people. They're like, Lacey, hello, this is like a marketing dream. You need to start sharing it. So definitely now that we know what's going on, I've created the new salon, and we're growing so much. I think a lot more people are finding out about it, and we're like, wait, during your growth, you're fighting a possible brain tumor and then MS, and you still did all of that. And so I can definitely say I'm very proud of myself, because a lot of people would probably buckle, because it's very hard to go through. Emotionally health stuff. But I know that my business and having my children definitely helped me to get through it. But now that I know about it, I hope it can be inspiring to let people know that, no matter what you're faced with, to still fight and to still go on. And when people say, well, how did you do it when you're going through that? And it's literally, I don't know how I did it. It was just, I didn't have another choice. Like, what else are you going to do? That was my only choice. So I just still did it. I love what I do. I love making other people feel good about themselves. When I get an email from a happy customer, it is the greatest thing. It doesn't matter how much money I make. I'm being 100% honest about this right now. If I only cared about the money, there's so many other things, so many other businesses I could take my money and invest in. I honestly believe in my company. I honestly love what I do. And it has helped me through so many hard things in my life to have a reason to keep going, and that I make other people happy and I make other people feel good has really helped me through that. But I do hope I can share my story and help other people be inspired in some way. It's funny because I didn't really ever think I was that inspiring. I was just like, oh yeah, I've done this, yeah, it's cool, right? And when I do tell people my story and they tell me that they're inspired by me, it's almost hard for me to hear, because I'm just like, no, I really am just trying to just do my best, and isn't that what everyone else is doing? And so I really do hope that the story can inspire you in some way, and to know that you really can do it. And I never thought in a million years my hair would be walking down 2 Victoria's Secret runway shows and be on Carrie Underwood, and it was really because I didn't give up. And that's the only thing, is I didn't give up. I kept fighting, and I know sometimes people have to give up. They have to make money. They can't wait. But I was willing to give up nice cars and trips and other things so I could really build my business. And I knew I would be successful in one day if I just kept trying.
Thank you so much, Lacey.